Hello, hello. Welcome to the NBC Room. I'm your host, Ray. I'm here with former retired First Sergeant Will Marshall. We got a lovely situation here today. All right, so me and Top, we go way back. I was his NBC NCO for last company I was with. We we put together a lot of good times there, man. I mean, it was a lot of situations that put us in harm's way. We tried to figure out how to make it through in a lot of different circumstances. But my job for First Sergeant was always to break down situations as far as nuclear, biological, chemical threats were, attained. So essentially, I had to detect. This was my duty to detect threats of the NBC nature, anticipate what the strategy or what the attack was, brief him on containment, how we would move our troops, how we would, line up our equipment for decon procedures, things of that nature, and also ultimately survive the situation. Whatever the threats were, that was my duty. So here we are once again in the NBC room, and we're going over strategies, understanding what we're detecting, figuring out what our sit reps are. How are we going to step through this? How are we going to get through this and pull off the day? So I got a number of topics, right? 5 topics in total at the moment. With me and Top, we could probably figure out a million and one others, but these are what we're going to try to stick to. First thing, we have a situation with cultural, political issues where we have such a divide in this country that I don't see it not being possible that a secession is on the table. We got irreconcilable worldviews. So we're going to dig into that. Our second topic of the tonight is going to be we got Virginia. There's a lot of things that came out in the polls last week. Well, not in the polls, but the governor, the new administration, the AG, everybody they're they're far one way, and we're going to get into that too. I gotta point out the issues. I always keep it blood raw and real. All right, so we're going to talk about Virginia as a progressive lab test. Our third, why younger generations think capitalism failed them. Um, and there's something to be said about this new upcoming AI wave. How is that contributing? What can we do and what kind of advice could we give them? Our fourth topic, why the left organizes in such an efficient manner, whether it's protesting, lawmaking, whatever it is, why the left is so organized and the right is not. We're going to get to the bottom of that. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And our last will be the situation of violence, how death threats and essentially this idea of I disagree, so it needs to end in bloodshed, is becoming more prevalent than we are even paying attention to. So we're going to bring up some situations that kind of cover that topic, all the way back from the killing of the healthcare CEO to the recent issue of the attorney, wannabe attorney general out of Ohio running for a seat. He claims he will put Trump under capital punishment the minute he steps out of office. So we got a lot to talk about. We're going to dig into it. First Sergeant Marshall, how you doing, brother?
I love you, man. Oh, I love you. You are the man, dude. Let me hide this little thing right here. It is so good to hang out with you. You
Yes, sir.
are such a blessing, man. Such a blessing and answer to prayer. Um, I remember a day when your name was at the top of my list every day for some reason, right? It might be for promotion, it might be for demotion, it might be for the best of the best award, it might be for something that happened down at the Ville that nobody even knows about yet. But I
I was
suddenly
always a mixed bag, wasn't I?
I never knew, man. And it was, I tell you, we've come a long way, baby.
Yes, sir.
Right? We have a foxhole history together. We have a history of overcoming times where it seemed like we were doomed to fail, and we were sometimes even failing ourselves somehow. We didn't quite
Right, right,
understand it,
right,
but we all kind of made it through, right? We kind of overcame. We saw the challenge in front of us and did the hard battle for our brothers and sisters that were next to us, right?
right, 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 right. And it's a blessing to be here. You know, I still wear this bracelet for a guy who was my battle buddy in basic training. You know, in 2003, he lost his life in Iraq. Had to take his Kevlar to his mother. You know, and a flag. You know, it's you know, it's been 20 plus years. I still wear this. You
Amen.
know,
Amen.
it's something to be said about what we survive, and I think I'm just now starting to get over survivor's guilt. Truthfully, I lived a real reckless life after that, and yeah, I do I do think that we don't shed enough light on that amongst what we actually go through, and I don't. It feels weird seeing a society that doesn't even appreciate it. You know, for the most part, we're living in a society right now that takes for granted these type of sacrifices for what they take every day is like, oh yeah, it's just another day. You know? So what you think?
Right. I totally understand. It's nobody understands what each individual service member goes through as part of their service. We all have battles and demons and things that we wish maybe would have gone different, or we could have done better, or you just never know what each of us have to struggle with. And
Right,
I tell you, it's really neat to be on the other side now and have
right,
gone through strife to where
right,
many times we realize that we brought it on ourselves. And many times we also realize that part of the trouble we got into was maybe standing up for our buddy who was, believe it or not, the one that was going down
yeah,
the wrong path. And we just got caught alongside of it. I remember a couple times looking at you going, what in the heck's going on? And you're like, hey, man, that's my, and I
yeah,
knew better, man. I knew
yeah,
better. But it was like it's like we're driven down a road that we don't have a lot of control over sometimes. It's a
right,
slippery sled out there, right?
right, 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 right. Well, you know, one thing I can say is we as a populace, we do have a lot of control collectively over some of the things that we want to talk about today. You know, um, topic one: secession.
Oh my,
How do
hold
you
on
feel?
just a second. So
How
what are
do
you
you feel
talking?
about that?
What are you talking about? Succession of what? Who's succeeding from what? What are you talking about?
All right. So here's my position. Okay. You know, we're at a point where we all could watch literally the same exact thing and come away with it with two separate realities. What was our modus operandi as a society? E pluribus out of many one, not out of many two separate, not out of many two opposing friction, you know, divided ideas where we can't find common ground because we can't even see the same thing. You know, I used to tell people all the time, I could point at a pillar in the middle of a room and we could both be looking at this pillar in the middle of the room. But if you're on the north side of the room and I'm on the south side of the room, yeah, we would be seeing two different sides of the same thing, but we wouldn't be seeing two separate things. And our society is at a point where gender identity, you could have a doctor, PhD graduate, not even be able to answer a question in a congressional hearing. Can a man have a child? Can a man give birth? Where are we at, Top? You know, this is delusion.
Hey, I'm okay. So first off, thank you for being willing to talk to me about it. Okay,
Yes, sir.
that's the biggest thing. Okay, is that you're willing to say, "Hey, Top, let's talk about something." Okay, because there's so many of us that wish somebody would talk about the truth, and they wish it was somebody they knew or knew wasn't bought out in some kind of way, or would didn't come look, it takes a real friendship that's built through many foxhole hours for guys like me and you to really connect the way you and I do, right? I fought for you, dude, and you know what? You fought for me too, right? In our own ways, right? And I really appreciate that stuff, and it makes disagreements not disagreements at all. We find that there is no disagreement. It's just we're shoveling on the different side of the hole at that moment. We gotta just put our efforts more together because many times we think that the other person assumes something about the other, and that's just not true. Just because just because you think that doesn't mean that's true at all. So the easier the more we're able to forgive somebody for what we think and just be, just what if we all, just pretended we were in heaven and just gallivanted all the time, and we just all ran in as a gallivant. We just sang praises to the Lord all day. What
Right.
kind of world would that be? That would be great, right? We can whistle while we work. But if we live it that way, then over time maybe it becomes that way. So I don't
So
know.
basically, you're saying maybe if you will it, it can be reality. Is that where you're going at?
Look, oh my gosh. So you're getting deep. We're going to get deep.
Yeah,
So very spiritual.
yeah,
Let me
yeah.
tell you something. Let me tell you something. If you believe that I have a part with the Holy Spirit in a co-creation process, if you believe in your deepest of deepest views that something is guiding you through your life,
Right.
then you begin to look for success to help you. You begin to look for cohesion to help you. You begin to look for 111s and 222s and 777s to line up in your life. And you begin to say, yes, when I get that message, I know I'm going in the right path. And over time, yes, maybe we can change our world. I believe
Mhm.
I'm changing my world.
Right.
I, my testimony is very strong that I believe that I am helping to manifest my world, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud to be here.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So to follow up on that, right? The idea of manifesting the world. We think about these differences that I'm starting to see that are irreconcilable, right? Look at the stance on border, right? Look at the stance on illegal immigration. And just to preface, before I even state it, my father's a Haitian. He came over here in the 80s, right? During the Haitian crisis then. Um, I was born here, American citizen. Half of my relatives are either green card holders or are here illegally. I know them personally. I see them regularly, right? I know who they are, know where they are. But I, at the same time, as a native born citizen and also have served the country and all the other things, I'm not Haitian, right? I tell people, yeah, my dad's Haitian, but I'm not Haitian. Understanding where they come from, I have empathy with the worries. I have empathy with the plight. I have empathy with what they may be seeing. And 90% of what they're seeing is just media, right? Um, I can say this, my family that I speak of, most of them in Florida. They're in a state where there's a lot of cooperation going on between the state and the Fed level, right? So in that state, they're not having ICE patrols just jumping out on people and snatching people up. And so if you're living down there and you're living according to laws and you're not breaking laws, there's a good chance. Like I got cousins that were born in Haiti but came over here at 2, 3, right? And they've been here their whole life. They know nothing of Haiti. So essentially they're American in idea alone, right? Can't even speak Creole, right? I sympathize with them. It's one of those things where you had your whole life to get your paperwork right, right? Here you are, you're 40 years old. You had your whole life to get your paperwork right. This is a stance where I'm saying there's a there's a segment of society that says we don't have to worry about the personal responsibility aspect of this. No human should be illegal. People should be able to roam and move how they choose when they choose. But then we don't have laws. If you could break that simple principle of a law of the land, you aren't adhering to any other laws. Automatically, you're already disqualifying yourself from saying any of the other laws matter. What's your take? What's your take, Ty?
So right now, let's not have a take. Let's list. I think we've listed two of the subjects that we're
Right?
talking about.
Mhm.
I'm still on Succession, dude. I don't even know what to
Hey,
even.
so this is how all of this stuff ties in. I know that's a radical claim, right? And a part of it also boils down to the latter part of the video, which I think that a lot of these topics are going to lead to the conclusion that I'm trying to press. That the reality is we're at a place of no return as a populace, and we won't be able to see eye to eye. And if we keep trying to think we will, somebody's going to lose hard, lose big.
Oh, dude, okay. So I love it what you're saying. You have such a credible voice. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm blown away by what you're talking about. All right,
Okay.
so there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, so we've run some of this through Chat GTP and some of the other stuff.
Okay.
Let me throw up one that I just want to hear your take on raw. Okay,
Okay.
just but make it brief. I don't want to hear the whole argument. Okay,
Okay.
apparently Virginia has just all of a sudden they're just taking a set of laws and just boom, 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 boom. And
All
explain to me the layman because I'm not really read in on it. Tell me what's happening.
right. So we have a number of laws where now they're putting high taxes on ammunition, guns, which is to be expected from liberal and democratic progressive views. I get it. Gun control is their thing. Um, but they're limiting gun laws. They're also regulating guns down to you're not allowed to own them if they're semi-automatic and they're made before 85 or some mess like that. The taxes that they're putting on Uber Eats and they're raising taxes, income taxes, HB 979 is going to increase state tax from 5.7 percent to 8% on income, and 10% on incomes over 600,000. Another bill would add 3.8 net investment income tax on most income above 500,000. The DA that was elected there, he was a guy who got caught in a text message string fantasizing about killing his opponent and his children. The governor that endorsed him, the female Abigail Spanberger, she she came out and endorsed him before she was elected. She doesn't know what a woman is. She also refused to denounce him and his behavior before an election. He won the election in a landslide. She won the election in a landslide. He's the top cop in the country. They hold the Senate. They hold the House in Virginia. Everything they're passing is going through their executive order in their way. They've decided to sign their state into law as a sanctuary city now. They no longer want to work with the Fed. They're not working with the Fed at all on any immigration stuff. They're keeping that as a federal level. They don't want to help the feds out at all. They've reduce mandatory minimums, and also reduce your right to own arms. Think about that now. That's kind of sadistic, right? Um, the long-term tax increases, policy shifts on a new Democratic leadership. What else? There's a whole laundry list of things. I have to pull these things up. Um, we got so the previous governor, Glenn Youngkin, had $730 million in tax breaks that were coming for the middle class. In his last budget, they have jumped this up to $1 billion. Um, Let me pull up some of this stuff that I seen earlier. 1 second. As a capitalist, I think you can kind of understand where I'm going with this. As me being a capitalist, not you. I've never asked you, Top. What are you? Are you a capitalist? Do you consider yourself a capitalist? Or you?
That's something that I've never in my life ever thought I would have to declare. Like, hold on just a second, hold on. I never thought that was like even a choice. I'm baffled by it, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting to think about a lot of the sides. I will tell you that I think that capitalism is something that seems to work for those people that are willing to work. And
Right.
so it that seems to be, I mean, it seems kind of it like if I was going to create a game, and one of the things that many times I think of this world it as is a game, and there's certain very rock solid rules that apply, and and that money kind of flows through the game. It kind of, you work for it, you get it, and but capitalism, in my opinion, if you're interested in playing at a certain level in the game, capitalism is essential.
Right.
And nobody wants to sign up to be a human robot,
Right.
right?
Right.
Nobody wants to sign up to play in the Truman Show and
Right.
not be Truman.
Right.
Everybody was going to have to be Truman. There's nobody that's going to sign up to do the other parts, right? And so, in our own way, we've all signed up for our own Truman Show.
So let me ask you this on a simple principle. Um, let's say you grab a lawnmower. I'm just talking, right? You're going up and down the street, cutting everybody's grass in your neighborhood, right? Um, this is how you provide. You make a living off of this. You bring it home. You're paying your bills, all this good stuff. Is it right for this same guy you see that's sitting on the side of the road watching you do this sweating labor all day in the sun? Is it right for him to have a federal mandate that your money should be given to him to provide for him to keep doing what he's doing? Just on a principle. I think that right there is what Abraham Lincoln said was one of our deadliest sins in slavery. He said that the man who soweth the seed should be the one who reapeth. Is also in the Bible. He quoted the Bible, but you get the principle. That was the emancipation motivation, the emancipationist motivation back then when the Republican Party was formed. And the idea of it being a grave evil to consistently weed away somebody's toil and labor in itself is theft. You know, I think that we live in a first world society where we have conveniences and also we have necessary evils. What do I mean by that? Taxes for highways. As a capitalist, that's a necessary evil, right? Not saying literally it's evil, right? But it's just the opposite end of the spectrum. But I understand it and I'm willing to deal with it. Police, firemen, good. Board of Education, even though I disagree with 90% of their stances on damn near everything today, right? but necessary evil, right? That we in the early 1900s, we moved to a society where we turned the assembly line into a factory in the education system with kids also. So most kids, we grow up, we don't know economics, we don't know how to manage our budget, we don't know how to we don't know how to save. We don't know, we're not financially astute. It's amazing to me how many people I know that make good money, 150, 200,000 a year, and they are broke, check to check, paycheck to paycheck, because their economics aren't right. And then they're the first one to say how bad our leaders are doing currently financially with their budget. And in my opinion, I don't think you should be talking one way or the other if you can't manage your budget right. This personal responsibility, you have to be able to manage your budget right. I've seen people that make 40, $50,000 a year build nice lives and end up having paid off homes and saving retirement because of the principles they're having, because of how what their focus is, their internal responsibility, and they're not trying to compete and keep up with the Joneses, you know. So
Right.
it's one of those things where it's like, as a staunch capitalist, I believe that every man should be able to toil for and keep the fruits of his labor. If you don't want to toil, cool, do the bare minimum. But I shouldn't be entitled to keep up your slack and be drugged down by it just because. Now, I think there's that necessary evil thing too. Somebody loses an arm, car accident. Veterans, we come home blown up, mentally shot. I think there's something to be said about that, right? I think these are good conversations, but these are still conversations where reasonable people could sit down, look eye to eye, and find common ground. But when we come to a society where we could all see the same thing and come up with total different conclusions of what's actually transpiring, and is no communication being able to transpire, like you got one side that has been willing to talk. I remember when Charlie Kirk got killed, and a lot of people on the right were saying, uh the left just killed the last person on the right that was trying to talk, right? And Charlie Kirk said something a couple months or so in an interview before he got killed, where he said that the minute that the communication and the conversation stops, the violence begins. Top, me and you come from a background of military. We understand the reason why militaries exist. There's a lot of people that have never left their city, never left their state, don't know anything about the outside world, have no clue what is happening and why. And they get caught up in this first world privilege of feels, and it feels good and it looks good and it sounds good, and it's not reality, you know? So in my mind, the way that I see that all of this stuff playing out, Top, here's my analysis, right? Here's my analysis. You have a staunch divide on both sides, and both sides are going deeper into their holes, right? And this this meeting ground, this common ground that's supposed to be e pluribus unum, no longer exists because we don't have a common God and light anymore, whether that's through religiosity, through culture, through I mean, the identities are all washed up and mixed up. There's so much foolishness that has us divided. And I've pointed out enemies in this from on my channel, Loose and Reckless, Marxists, all right, the Marxist doctrine, the Communist Manifesto. These things entered our ethos in the early 1900s before the education system. All of this stuff has been playing out and playing itself deeper and rooting itself deeper and deeper as we become more privileged and sleeping. Sleeping at the wheel. And I feel like we're in the people that still love America, the people that still believe in the Constitution, The people that still can look to the Constitution and see that how beautiful that document is, how that work of art is, because it created the most prosperous and powerful empire. I say this empire emphatically, known to man in over 8,000 years. And we did it in 200. There's empires that still exist. Russia, China. China has been a long-standing empire for 4,000 years. We came up and made them self-serving in 250. We got to ask ourselves, how did this happen? It's based off of culture. It's based off of the ethos that put us together and guided us. And that e pluribus unum that used to say out of many one, no, out of many is many at this point. Mm-hmm. And I'm at the point where I realize that is irreconcilable. Some people you can't talk to. You try to reason with them. You know, there's so much stuff. Like, as a Trump supporter, don't get me wrong, I hate a lot of stuff that he does sometimes. Sometimes it's just what he says. Sometimes it's policy, like rent controls, or even him kicking BlackRock out. I don't like price controls on anything. Credit card interest rates. He's trying to help out the little guy. His heart is in the right place. He's worrying too much about what people think. That's what it really boils down to. But that's another topic. You know, Top, if I get going, you know.
All right. So this is a good break right now. This is a good right. break. We're gonna bring Gary P on in a few minutes. Okay. He's gonna be a big helper and in all the stuff we're doing. Remember, this is just a planning podcast right now. We're just kind of trying to touch a little. Look, I'm telling you, I'm still stuck on succession and what in the heck when you sent me the email and that was your number one thing, I'm like, oh my Lord, because it's one thing I don't know. I just can't believe how deep we're going to go. So I'm very proud to call you my friend, and brother. You know, and we sat in the mini a foxhole together. And we drove trucks and we did all kinds of crazy stuff in the middle of the night.
Jumped out of planes, helicopters, rappelling, all types of stuff. It's amazing.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So let me bring Gary P on here. See what he's got up to. What's going on, Gary P?
All right. No. I'm not touching this.
Oh my gosh! So he's been sitting around listening.
You said we weren't going live. I told you I wasn't ready to go live, and you got people making comments. And so if us three wanted to talk, then that is totally different. But I said I wasn't ready. To go live.
Love you, man.
Now, if us three, if we want to talk, I got some points. I got some things to say, but I'm not going live.
I love you, man. All right, we'll see you, Gary P. Love you, man. He told us, he's like, man, I don't know about all this.
It's gonna get hot in here in a minute. It's gonna get hot in here in a minute, man.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh my gosh! So look at that, man. He's gonna go crazy in the chat knowing he's on here. So that's and so that is the leader that I'm talking about. That has the gumption to say the things he's scared to. He's scared to say the things that
I don't think he's scared. I don't think he's scared. You know what I think it is, Top. I've been dealing with this thing for a while myself. It's the fact of the matter that it's like, what for? Right? Like, what is to be gained? But this is why I also think that people like him should, right? And it's about the network. It's about the organization, which is actually what is topic 4. Why the left out organizes us. We're too comfortable, Top. We're too comfortable. We're too comfortable. We're too complacent. We got jobs. We got kids. We got families. We got retirements. We don't have time to be out there protesting and fighting with the police about shit. Every time you try to hear or you hear about something, right, when you think about January 6th, man, that was a minuscule band of idiots, right? Like nobody, Okay, they got smacked. They got a little spanking. Okay, cool. All right, nobody is moving that way. Nobody thinks that way. You know what I mean? That's not a real thing. And it's sad to see it, but as time prevails and I'm looking back over these things, I'm realizing that all it really is organization. When things pop off, when in 2020, BLM riots, they had paid agitators everywhere, protesters. There's just batteries in their back. They don't even know why they're out there. But one thing they had, and as you know, when we sit down in the NBC room and I had to give you briefs on the decon route, what cycle the units had to traverse in. This took logistics. This took pre-planning. This took coordination. For them to be able to drop off pallets of bricks and pallets of water to their protesters already shows that if comms went down, there's a side that's ready. No matter how much us gun-toting patriots want to talk about how we're ready for anything and how we can deal with anything, we're not ready. And it's because we're not talking. And it's because we're not communicating, and we're not addressing things that are really in our face right now on a regular day-to-day basis. These people fantasize about you dying if you don't hold their beliefs. They get online and cheer it on if you don't hold their belief. If something happens to you, like Charlie Kirk, oh, he deserved it. Same person said he deserved it. Sit there and drop a tear for the guy that got shot fighting ICE yesterday or last week. It's one of those. It's the wildest shit to me. Is it me personally, Top? You remember I always was a straight shooter. I used to lack decorum a lot. I would come out of character. I would come out of my military bearing, especially when I believe something. That hasn't changed. I when something either it's right or it's wrong, and there is no in between to me. And for a lot of people, you have gray areas. I used to be that. I was telling my wife the other day, man, I always prided myself on being a libertarian. A libertarian. As I got older, I started saying I'm a libertarian conservative. As I got older, as I'm getting older, I just dropped the libertarian. We need order. We need order. We need an agreement amongst each other to obey the laws of the land and have order. Otherwise, you need authoritative state to fix it, and the left wants it. They want an authoritarian state. It's unavoidable at that time. You can look at Virginia's whole route that they're taking as a prime example of what's to come. They now have the highest effective tax rate in the country, and they can't turn around and say, oh, we got a GDP like California, so we can deal with it. No, you can't. All of your jobs come from the federal government. Everybody that makes big money in Virginia works in the DMV area. It's contracting, it's government money. It means more taxes. You don't get more money into the country, into the economy floating around with just taxes. You're gonna run out of people to tax. It just doesn't make sense. So, I think that Sergeant Major is right in the aspect that when there's a time, his leadership will be needed, likely. So maybe not get the head of a snake chopped off too early.
Hey, he just stuck his head in the door. He's like, "Hey, what's up, troops? What's going on down here in Bravo Battery?" Oh, it's just we tried to jump up. He closed the door real quick. He's like, "You didn't see me. You didn't see me." Remember when Sergeant Major Eimer get on a roll, man? He'd be coming around, man. He'd be coming around. He'd be like, "You didn't see me, man. You didn't see me."
Yeah.
Oh my God! Look at what we got in the chat. We got Van Schoonhoven, Frank Witt, Mills, John Nelson.
Oh man, all those names is my brothers in arms. All right.
Yeah, right.
What's up?
It's to be talking about these kinds of things. This is just a planning. This is just a planning, podcast.
Right.
We're just
things
seeing. So we don't have to dig into every one of these subjects. Like, so can I add just a couple of things? But they're different, kind of. One, did you see the new sound weapons or sonic weapons that we have that they used in Venezuela? Did you see that?
Yeah, man. So
Dude.
let me tell you something. So you remember I was supposed to get recruited to MI, right?
Right.
Before I took NBC, I was supposed to get recruited to MI.
Okay.
And as I was going through my intel analyst debrief, I met a couple guys that were supposedly on the same line too, right?
Okay.
Um, Needless to say, some of them retired, and I still am in contact. Now they're on the contracting side.
Right.
These things aren't new
Right.
by far,
Right.
and it makes me proud to be an American, especially a
Yay.
veteran.
Thank you. All right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like really, it makes me sleep well at night knowing that we still are who we were. You know what I mean? 20 years ago. 20
Right.
years ago, we were a fighting force that if you stepped wrong, you were not going to, press us in any kind of bad way. You're not gonna hurt our citizens. You're not gonna send empty threats. None of that's who we were 20 years ago. Seeing that Venezuela, that's who we are still. What I
Amen.
do fear is the wrong people in control of that.
Right. Right.
So yeah, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, the weapons, man, it's insane, man. Those supersonic weapons. I mean, you have a lot of targeting guys telling me that that's nothing. That's nothing. They got drones that they didn't really ever have to deploy everybody there. It just would cost more. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have to send them 20 guys out there. It just would have cost more. I'm telling you. It's wild.
Hey, look who asked to be put back in the game, man. Look
Well,
at
I didn't
that.
know
There
how
you
to
go.
do it. I had to go to freaking Facebook and freaking find it out because I can't stand this kind of shit. But anyway, anyway, hey, you want me? You got me.
Yes,
All
Hey,
right.
sir.
baby, we've been
Yes,
reeling
sir.
him in, baby. We've been reeling him
Little by
in.
little. Hey, little by little, the breadcrumbs led them here. The breadcrumbs
No,
brought them back.
no, and see, and again, I mean, I wish I had the answers. I mean, your perspective, honestly, is it's you got a lot of great and good points, and I don't know, I'm having trouble just committing with this because I feel like I said earlier, I just feel uh, I don't know what word I want to use, kind of uncomfortable, but you got to say what you got to say. I'm with you. I got it, right? Some people just, don't care. And, something you said about police, I wrote down, I was like, hey, you got some good ones, but they have also, you got some bad ones, well, just like soldiers or service
Right,
members or whatever, right? It's a hard job, especially police and
right,
citizens. Military, even harder job, military doing it when they're not trained to do it. But anyway, um, you know, I don't know why, honestly, that I asked Will to pull me back in. I guess I just started getting, I don't know, into, Gary P
man. It's
freaking mode. I think, you said something about well, I don't know. I mean, you said a lot of things, and I wrote some notes down, and most of them I don't remember because I was trying to figure out how the heck do I let Will know to pull me back in. And a lot of it is to your point though is exposure, right? You said
right,
different people. Some people stay in the same location, same
right, right,
town, city, state, whatever. They are not exposed. So,
right,
but okay. So if all I listen to is one media outlet, and that's
right,
that's all I'm going to do. But
right,
Will and anybody else who even comments on any of this, right? I am unaffiliated. This is why another reason why I really don't want to do that because I can listen and I
right,
don't want to debate politics. I don't want to debate,
right,
Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever.
right,
That's not me. I'm about, I'm not even going to say what's right and what's wrong. It's kind of taking care of good people. But then, okay, so that's you know, that's shady, right? Because that's our perspective, which is
Right.
another thing that you said. How do we perceive that pole that's sitting in the middle of the freaking church, and
Right.
you're on the left side, I'm on the right side? So the perspective of what he's doing for this person, but ain't doing for that one. So now, and again, not trying to make it race, you know, because those who know me, right? I grew up the way I grew up. I grew up around a lot of different uh stuff who I'm married to, been married
Right.
26 years. So but again, what it's me. So it's my character. I think that's what me outside of religion, you know, politics or whatever. It's how do we enable people to be of good character? You know, I'm not trying to Martin Luther King it because he sold it, solidified it. He did what, you know, that's a done deal. But it's
Right.
just small stuff, and it starts with parenting. So we can talk all this stuff,
Right.
but when we show bad examples, then you got bad apples. And
Right.
that's just, I mean, that's what it is. So again, and this is what I told Will, and this is why I don't want to go live, you know, because I'm going to ramble and I'm going to rant.
More
Um,
than what?
but you can't do it live because who wants to hear it? Who wants
Right.
to hear that? But I don't like being scripted. Look, the
Right.
NCO creed can't be done CON. You know, it just cannot. It has to be that way. Sustained airborne training has to be done from bam to bam, soup to nut.
Right.
You know, I get it. But
Right.
life, that isn't life. That isn't society. That isn't event driven.
Right.
Our reactions and actions are event driven. And so that's why I think the small stuff matters. And that's what we're not teaching, we're not enforcing. We're just people getting big stuff right off the bat and thinking that's it. They are everything. But I mean, you went pretty deep, man. I mean, you like put some time and thought into the stuff you. I mean, this is the first time I ever met you. I mean, and daggone, I'm sitting here writing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like writing stupid stuff. Florida Republican, Ted Lasso. You know, because Ted Lasso, I watch too much TV, but Ted Lasso, it was curiosity versus judgment. You know what I mean? So these isms, these little small things, they matter. You
Right.
know, somebody put my best man and some people from my unit put Oreo cookies on my brother-in-law's car because I had to borrow his car because I got married. I came back from Korea, got married, and I married, of course, a black woman, and so the Oreos, hence the Oreos, all over this car. You know what I mean? But that was a
Can I
small
speak
thing.
to that real quick? Can I
Huh?
speak to that? That is a divide going on in the black community right now as we speak, which I know you've been privy to, just for you saying that Oreo comment. But that's the nonsense, right? That's the nonsense noise. It's not even real, right? Like I have family members that won't even talk to me anymore because of my support for Trump. Now, mind you, grew up. I mean, we done broke the law together. We done did all types of wild. But in 2015, they decided that I'm a coon now. I used to be the realest N word they knew. Now I'm a coon now. Now I'm a sellout. When all at that time, this was before the TDS was really crazy, right? This was early stages where everybody just thought he was a joke and he's not gonna be anybody, and I was supporting him then on the road. I've been this way since 2012, right? So at first it was just laughing at me and looking at me like, oh, he done switched up. he done went and did this, and now his mind's go. No,
What does that have to do with Oreo? I'm just asking. I
the
mean,
Oreo black on
Oreo
black
cookies were a joke. Like and it was out of
black on the
service members
outside,
who,
white on the inside.
right, right.
You said your brother-in-law, he's a black guy, right? And they put Oreo cookies on his car.
My wife is black. Yeah,
But
and her brother-in-law, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but
so they put an Oreo cookie on his car.
covered the entire car with the Oreo cookies.
Black on the outside, white on the inside. They must have
Yes,
felt
that's
like
the only way it could stick. Yes, but anyway, no. All right. Again, I thought it was funny. It was heartfelt, and when he passed away, that's what I mentioned in the funeral, and people were like, "Man, I forgot all about that." You know what I mean? So that I didn't take as negative. I took that as these guys knew, they liked her, they appreciated, or I'm not even going to say respected because it's whatever. I mean, I work for them. They didn't work for me. We work for the military, because we were service members. Like I used to ask NCOs all the time, how many soldiers do you work for? And they'd be like, I don't work for none of them. They all work for no, they don't. You work for them. You got to free up their time and space so they can go do the Army's mission. You know what I mean? So but anyway, I didn't mean it as, again, political, because I said I am unaffiliated. I'm not here to argue, nor will I be on a platform to argue Democrat or Republican or, even race. It's, to me, it's about character, because white, black, brown, yellow, whatever, we can't make anything better until we have a little bit better character. And that, again, hey, push back. You know what I mean? Push back. Just tell me, and I'm not trying to prove a point. I'm not saying I'm right. That's yes versus yeah. Words have meaning. Actions have consequences. Three things I raised my kids up with, and I think that they're pretty decent. So I'm not saying anything about anybody else's. That's my opinion, and I appreciate anything else. So again,
sorry about that. I misinterpreted what the Oreo joke was, because
the
that's a
Oreo
running
was
joke.
because of her and I being black and white, and that's what these guys did. Yeah, and again, it's not that I didn't go overboard on you. I didn't. I just, as you started going like with President Trump, that kind of threw me off of.
I'm gonna tie that in, and this is the only reason why I'm tying it in is there's it goes speaks to the character thing that you were talking about. I've been called a coon, sellout, Oreo, all of that, because I want better for my community, right? Like, I've told Top this a few times. I'm a black nationalist. All right, it sounds crazy, right? Like, it sounds radical.
I'm sipping on a Miller Lite, but anyway, go ahead.
I'm an American. I'm black. My grandfather was born a slave. He got his freedom throughout his life, and ended up dying a landowner. So looking at that inspires me about what can be done here in this country. Made me realize that I wanted to understand this country more. The more I fucked up, the more I wanted to learn why I was fucking up. You can't play the rule. You can't play chess without knowing the rules to the game, right? You got to know how the pawn moves. If you don't, you can't just turn around and make your pawn do some bishop shit, right? So without the rules to the game, I was out here moving blind in a weird way. And when I discovered why I was moving so messed up, I tried to share the good news. I tried to stress to family members and other people about, personal responsibility, economic intelligence, saving your money, being conservative with your money, putting your money in places that hold value. Simple stuff. Work hard, don't make excuses, right? Little things. And I was always in engagements with my people based off of these things, trying to give them a way to stop always talking about the white man. The white man is always the boogeyman for them. And I've never had a white man stop me from shit. No white man can. Not in this country. I have every right and every ability that everybody does. So the Oreo statement was, I guess, it was a trigger effect because I've been called Oreo, I've been called coon, I've been called sellout, all that other stuff. So I thought the Oreo was the Oreo joke, but that also reverts back to character. We do need to impress on our kids the proper character, the proper ideas of how to do to others as you want done unto you. The golden principle is all energy exchange. If you walk around with destructive intentions and destructive goals, you get a lot of destructive results. You walk around in a creative mind state and you want to bring value to other people that you meet, bring value to others that you come into contact with, you have always better outcomes. There's a book called Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill. Recommend all y'all watching, pick it up. It's a great book. The number one rule that has helped me go from homelessness to freedom, financial freedom, like being able to not worry, is me sitting back and doing more than what's asked of me. I go to work, I don't find ways out of work, I find more work. When people pay me for a job, I go above and beyond. After I'm paid for the job, I come back to the job. These are character qualities, and I agree with you 1000%. I think one of the biggest things that we did in our societies was hand over and delegate the raising of our kids to a social system, and it's only going to get more of the ideas that we're seeing run rampant right now, which is privilege, which is groupthink. You know, nobody can really critically analyze things anymore. It seems like people aren't even taking the time to critically analyze and debate or talk about uncomfortable situations. You know, so I think that's one of the biggest things when it comes down to character that we're lacking as a nation. As a nation, we don't invest in our future the way we think we do. We hand our kids off to people that get paid a little more than minimum wage and expect them to care for 8.5 hours a day. You know, my daughter, she's 10 years old, raised homeschooled. She's reading at a 10th grade level. She's doing algebra. She's only 10 years old. Never seen a day in public school. And during 10 years of her life, I probably didn't make over $100,000 till she was about maybe 7 or 8. You know, I wasn't making good money to do, but I made sacrifices and I picked places and ways to live under far below whatever I was generating to make sure that I could provide that reality for her and her mother. And that's what I think the ethos of our communities is missing. Nobody makes sacrifices like this anymore. Everybody is caught up in this what's popular, what's trending, what is the new in thing, you know? So I definitely agree with you in my opinion. Good has been taught to be bad, and bad has been taught to be good. And we're living in a reality where I think everything's topsy turvy, you know, and that's why characters are all over the place. You were glorifying most of the worst behaviors in society: vanity, envy, lust, gluttony. I don't care if you're religious or not. You can easily see the objective truth in sitting around and eating a whole bunch of food all day and not working out and burning calories. And if you can't, we're talking about objective realities that don't fit.
Talking about me getting chubby over here. What's going on with that,
Yes,
man?
stop. You
Dang
need to
it.
go ahead and do some PT, man.
I'm gonna have to run down the dang road, man. Doggone it. I knew I was gonna have to start working out. I knew hanging out with you guys, I was gonna have to start working out. Gary P's in and out, man. It's like his underwear ain't on good or something. I don't know.
He's freaking ear going out.
Oh, I got you. I got you. I got you.
All
So
right.
so this is just a look, this is just a planning session. You guys are like,
Yeah.
y'all are hitting home runs over here, man. Y'all
Man,
just
we haven't even scratched the surface, top. We haven't scratched the surface.
I'm
There's
still
so much
dude,
to be
I'm
said,
still
so much
stuck
to talk
okay, all right. So look, so here's what I envision. Okay, I envision a Sunday night. Pretty much every Sunday night we have a kind of a live, and we uh, talk. We just chat, and we'll have a little agenda that we write up, and we'll talk about all of these questions and all of this stuff, and we'll put on a show, and we'll have guests, and it'll be a chance for our generation to begin to talk to the folks that would be willing to listen. And we got to recognize that we have a certain audience that we might have some credibility with, and we have to find a way to use that and then make a show that becomes entertaining, honestly, as we talk about the way, the Franklin says run in circles in the Camp Carroll motor pool, right? Remember that? Remember that day? I wish I knew what you guys did that day that ticked me off.
I
so
cannot remember that.
I'll never forget that day. There's lots of days like that where you have to be a leader. You have to have a reason that somebody kind of did something so we all have to share some punishment together. There has to be, it's like what you're saying, Ray. There's got to be consequences to the things that we do. Otherwise we get caught up in this group think that is going to go nowhere. Right.
Right. A lot of times we don't analyze the fact that there are no solutions. There's only trade-offs, man.
Right.
We can't have it all.
Right.
You work too far this way, you're going to have to swing back. There's always trade-offs. No solution.
Right.
Just like you had a massive amount of people that are serious about immigration and getting illegals out and all that was a consequence of an election. Now the trade-off to that is those people who voted for that need to understand what they voted for. Right. They need to see what they voted for. They need to digest that. And if you don't have the stomach to digest that, you voted for the wrong thing. It's just that simple, in my opinion.
Right.
Because it was pointed out blatantly what it was, what the situation was, what you were asking for, and you can't magically just it's gonna snap and go away. There's a lot of wild situations that I've seen in the past, in foreign countries when we was in certain conflicts. The brutality, the real hardships, the real stuff in the world. You come home and you realize that we're all pampered, spoiled. We're spoiled. We live in some of the best times to ever be alive as human beings. Every last one of us get more calories than the average king in 1400s. We have buffets to their standard, we have buffets right in our kitchen, on a regular basis, every day. And we don't know that we're taking it all for granted, and we're not teaching our kids that we're taking it for granted. We don't even understand for the most part how it was designed. You ask the younger generation that are moving towards socialism right now, what is asset management? Half of them can't break it down if they under 25. They don't even know what I'm meaning or referring to, but they know a whole lot about tariffs. Don't you go to talk about tariffs? They got overdrafts every week. But don't you talk about tariffs. It's like we gotta find a way to get to some objective truths in our society. And if we don't, that's where the secession is what I advise. So the whole topic of secession is my advice. If you have a marriage and people are together and it's irreconcilable differences, before there's domestic violence, why don't y'all go ahead and get a divorce? Go ahead and end this, because this is not good for either one of y'all. I believe that we're at that precipice in this country, if only for the idea that maybe through a secession, we'll understand what we lost.
Can we at least include like Texas? Can Texas be a part of us? How's it we're gonna break apart? I need to know where to move, man.
What's us though?
Huh?
See, the us is subjective, just like Sergeant Major was saying.
We is subjective.
Right.
And I wish it was that easy. Oh my gosh. Like just to be able to say, oh hey, I'm done with you, you're done with me, blah blah blah. But that ain't.
I mean, we got service members and people that we know right now going through. I got a guy that I know that's doing 4 different weekends in jail because he lives 5 minutes from his wife. So when she or his that he's forcing that he's in the Commonwealth of Virginia while you're is because he has to go that way to go to work, or he has another 40-minute ride around. But guess what? He's eating it, and he's a retired senior enlisted a member. You know what I mean? So there is no. We are not getting to perfect. You're right. There are going to be trade-offs, but I said at least to Will, and I'm not. Again, the dialogue and everything else, absolutely. But I don't see. For me, it's about character and it's about stuff like that. Like, do I got the greatest character? Hell no. But do I pull more freaking parts from a parking lot into a store than what other people will freaking just put all 4 wheels over a freaking curb right beside the turn. That is where that starts elsewhere, not what we're talking. You're right. Internally, all of it is mentor or parental or whatever, and that's me. That, but like the religion and politics and social and all that other stuff, that is, that is.
Major, you can ignore politics, but politics will not ignore you.
I know, which is fine, but you're right. I can just let it go. But actions have consequences. So I'm with you, and that's the point. It's merry-go-round.
See, that's honest. That's realism. That's the realism that our country lacks, right? That's what I hope that we start weeding out, because I was telling my wife the other day that I'm evolving as we go right now. Like, as I have a channel, Loose and Reckless, and I was making videos probably twice a week for about 4 months straight last year. And I ended up creating some AI creations and diving into programming AI and using AI to teach me Python and JavaScript and learning how to code through AI. And it just started dawning on me of where we're as a society going and evolving to, right? Like, we're no longer the society of industry. We're a society of convenience. Like, we're a society of new adaptations that we can't fathom. I mean, all of us on this panel right now remember when the hottest technology was a flat screen or a microwave. It's there wasn't cell phones when we were outside playing as kids. There wasn't internet as we were outside. Yeah, every yeah, every aspect of our reality is moving at such a rapid pace that by the time our kids, our grandkids are grown, the world would not look anything like what we think it is. It Half the arguments we're talking about today isn't going to matter because what's done is done truly. But it's moving at just like the news cycle. It's something different every day if you pay attention to the news. We are the first generation of people to ever be interconnected at a button. You remember in high school, well, in middle school or somewhere around there, the teacher would tell you can't use calculators through a math problem because you're not going to always have a calculator. Who doesn't walk around with a calculator in their pocket now? Who doesn't walk around with a cell phone, that a supercomputer in their pocket? So I'm wrestling with things that I didn't even think I would be wrestling with due to going into the idea of technology. Like, I'm a capitalist and I understand that we need to start looking at universal basic income. I can't even avoid, my logic leads there because of what's happening. that's not my party's line. That's not my values line, right? I'm already determined because I'm a critical thinker. I don't move with crowds. I don't care who said what. I look at what evidence is brought to me. How far can I track this evidence down? And what does it mean when I break this evidence down? And if somebody's lying to me, fuck them. You know?
You're at this other strategic level for me, honestly. And I'm not being a smartass. I'm not.
Right.
It still needs to start down here. This is us old heads. This is where it needs to be ingrained, and that's kind of okay. That's me saying that. I get what you're saying. I'm saying that for me, it has to be. Nobody else is going to learn because you're right. Everything is handed to them. I mean, it's not handed to them because words have meaning. I'm telling you, words have meaning. So you got to watch what you say. You really got to watch what you say because perspective. See what I'm saying? So now here goes this wheels on the bus go round and then we're just gonna keep going freaking road in this circular road, and we're always gonna come back to the same thing. And it starts somewhere. So where is that? Not that we're saying that we have to mentor children and kids. That's what parents are for. But 18-year-old service members, 19 service members, I don't know. Like I honestly, I don't know. But like I said, your level, and I'm not messing with. I totally respect exactly what you're saying. You're already up here. You're looking strategically, super long term. Bam. That they never see. But we got to plant the seed somewhere. We might not see the harvest. So where's the seed being planted? It has to be at a little bit lower echelon than what
So
we're. So
let me
that's
ask you this.
jumping on any of these kind of discussion. That's
No, you good. Sorry, Major, you good. Let me ask you this though, right? If if I wanted to be a teacher, there's prerequisites that I would have to go through to get my credentials, learn the subject matter, become a subject matter expert, and
right.
then become a teacher of said topic or subject, right? I have to be a master of my domain. In order for us to get the youth and start working on their character, don't we have to get our character together?
Say that small things lead to large things. Nobody's going to give you something strategic to do without, you know, we do have steps there. Whatever you want to say, however you want to say. I don't know. Again, I'm not scripted. I'm not prepared. I don't have. I'm just saying. You don't just start at. I came in and I'm lieutenant general whatever. And you know what? You start somewhere. Yeah, and you're going to get stuffed up away, and then you're going to learn. That's where I think all us, and even the ones that even a little bit, that are like, man, me, I'm the tar that they're talking about. But I mean, it has to. But now, you're right. But small things matter at the, which I don't like to use, tactical level. At what small things have to happen first before the bigger things will come your way. There has to be small before you get his knowledge, experience, being stuffed up. Almost any freak billionaire will tell you that they failed before.
Yep. And you're 1,000% correct in that assessment, in my opinion. I one thing that I will add, one thing
We have to start small steps.
one thing that I will add is every soldier has a starting point, which is usually MEP, then basic training. At every step of that way, there's an NCO. When you hit basic training, there's a staff sergeant there, there's a drill sergeant. He's seasoned, he's seen some things, and he becomes your hero. All of your whole platoon, it looks up to these guys, drill sergeant, assistant drill sergeant. Y'all, they're your role model, they're your standard, right? My complaint is that we have no standard bearers. There's no NCOs in society. There is no e pluribus unum, at least for certain types of values, which leads into the other topics of organization. There's a lot of unorganized thought, unorganized complaints, unorganized whining, but there's no organized.
So hardships, right? Hardships kind of matter in society because it brings people together. Hardships matter in the military because it brings people together. People re-enlist because of, the suck, but the brothers and sisters in arms that are with them, they're like, I want to stay a part of the team. So no, I'm with you again. But guess what? That is still small. Now vision, and then they are going to, try. But I'm with you. I'm not. I think we're saying sort of the same thing.
We are
saying it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's the suck, not do this and that. And Will, I'm telling you right now, man, you better start talking. All you're doing is recording, dude. You better check it. Control of this, man. But anyway, but that is, I'm with you. It's and society. You're right. They don't share the hardships. It is eat or beaten. It's I'm taking your stuff and that's it. We don't do that. Well, we didn't do it. A lot of us in the military. I think everybody just dipped on me. Oh, all right, never mind. I mean, we kind of respected each other's stuff. So anyway, that's it. I mean, we all of us got so many stories, and that's fine. But how do we get that down to this is? I don't know.
Doing what we're doing now is a start.
All right. So now let me talk. Okay. So first off, this is sponsored by Penny Cox, Esquire, criminal attorney, bankruptcy law attorney. She's my beautiful wife. The phone number's there on the screen. Call her if all your legal needs across the country, even international law. She'll hook you up. She'll get you squared away. She is brilliant, and so it's just also sponsored by the Wiregrass Harmony Brothers. And my little musical group down here, local to the Wiregrass area down in Alabama. So, and also sponsored in part by the Dothan United Dragons, our soccer team. We have a semi-pro soccer team. And so Dad and I go to the game. So we enjoy that. So shout out to those kinds of organizations. Shout out to Raynard Burnett, my friend. And oh my gosh. And my fellow airborne soldier, and look at old Gary P over here. He's retired Command Sergeant Major. He was a guy that we were peers together, and he went on to great heights. He was really a super duper kind of guy, and a jump master, and all those kinds of good things. So
anyway.
Yeah, man.
So what we're doing here is we're just trying to put the framework down for what we're calling the NBC Room. And it's just kind of Burnett and I hanging out like we were in his old NBC room back in the old days. And old Sergeant Major Gary P's stuck his head in the door, and he's like, what y'all doing in here,
What y'all talking about?
Yeah. And so we're going to start a weekly podcast. We're going to do it on Sunday nights. We're going to do it live. And we're just going to be talking about real things. Look, Burnett sent me a thing. It's like friggin' succession of the nation as a lead topic. And so I just can't believe that we're going to talk about things like that. And it really is amazing to think that all this stuff is coming together. Gary P., I'm going to shut up. What do you want to say?
Said mine was shopping carts.
Yeah, right. Shopping carts. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, believe it or not, Gary, that those go together in my weird sense of thinking. You know, it is the character. My daughter, she left the car. I said, put the cart up. And she left the cart right in an empty parking spot. I said, no, girl, if you don't take that cart back to where the doggone the collection plot is, you don't leave no damn cart out there because people want to park right there. Wind blows, next thing you know, you got scratches on somebody's stuff. You got to care about everybody around you. You don't just walk around stomping on everybody. You don't stomp on everybody else's stuff, you know, and but it's the same thing. Those lines are so blurred right now that we're at a point where we're collapsing within because of things like that. That principle, what it takes inside to be that type of person versus a person who doesn't give a fuck about nobody else but themselves. Right?
Small things matter.
Yeah.
So that's what the podcast is going to be about. Go ahead, Gary P.
It will. Go ahead. No, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, so that's what the podcast is going to be about. We're just going to sit around and shoot the shit. Gary P wanted to call it dude talk, and we still might call it dude talk. But we're gonna definitely have some more guests that are from all over, and I've talked to several people about what we're doing. And so one of the things that we want to know is what you want to hear, what you want to talk about, what subjects are important to you. So if you're a listener, if you're getting this,
who's willing to come on? And we need females because females are crushing it.
Okay, there you go. We got to know if you want to come on and be a guest, please come on. Also, I'm going to be doing more of my Heroes I Know interviews. So these guys have both already done theirs, but we're going to be doing more Heroes I Know interviews. We've done over 200 of them. If you want to check those out, they're on the Marshall in the Middle channel there on Facebook and on YouTube. Please check those out. Ray, tell us about your Loose and Reckless YouTube channel, where folks can get to that.
So Loose and Reckless is on YouTube. Is loose_reckless_ TV. You should see a thumbnail of a picture of white Jesus smoking a blunt and saying "flooded again."
Oh, that's funny.
A big smile on his face.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Loose and reckless. What happened, Gary? What happened?
I said, I think you're an instigator. I'm just messing with you now.
I am. I'm instigating. I'm trying to trigger some motion. That's really all it's about. Trying to trigger some motion, man. I don't see enough of it.
I'm with you.
You know?
All right, everybody. So, hey, this is the NBC Room, the planning session. Episode 1's coming up on Sunday, so plan on being live with us here. We'll have some things to talk about. Maybe we'll talk Gary P into coming on again, but for sure it's going to be me and Ray. For sure it's going to be me and Ray, and we'll have some other guest hosts. So, thanks, everybody. Good night, everybody. Say good night.
All right, y'all.
All right, fellas.
All right, now. Appreciate it, guys.